Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick breakdown of my Stormsinger build for this last Tabaxi life. It was a very good time. Just had a debate with one of my guildies. He's playing through it right now, and he's not certain he likes it better than Spellsinger. And I can sort of see where that logic is, but overall, having run it all the way up to level cap, I absolutely loved Stormsinger. I thought it was better than Spellsinger. It's very close. Spellsinger is still great, but I found it to be a lot more fun. So it was a very good time. It was easy. It was a little bit slow from 1 to 12, like a lot of classes are, especially the half-caster classes, which are kind of slow 1 to 12. But after that, it becomes a romp. And once you hit 18 and you get the permanent cerulean wave effect from the core 5 and Stormsinger, it becomes a hilariously good time. And then once you get into epics and you take Primal Avatar, it was just a straight romp from 20 to 30. It wasn't even a contest. I don't know that I died even once. If I did, it was my own stupidity. It was because it was never close. It was absolutely that good. So I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as possible because I know that these get a little long and rambly. But again, as this is a caster build, it's very straightforward. Oh boy, I did the thing and I clicked off them, so I'm off on the screen. All right, so let's see if we can do this. So this is what my stats break down as. Started with base 10 strength, base 14 dexterity, base 14 con, base 14 intelligence, base 10 wisdom, and then base well, this is base 26, but it was maxed out, so it was 18, I believe, when I started. And I do have a +8 tome, as you can see. So that's the way all my stats broke down at the end. Right now, for those of you interested, my gear set looks like this, and it took a little bit of wrangling to get this done because I had to go and farm a bunch of stuff, and it was very frustrating. But this is what it looks like. It's kind of slapped together. I'm sure somebody else could probably come up with a better solution than this, but this is what I had at the end. So what I had was Epic Big Top, Charisma, Dodge 9%, Perform 17, Use Magic Device 3, and I soldered that with a Diamond of Exceptional Charisma. And then I went and farmed this out. This is the Epic Anchor Chain. This drops in Saltmarsh. So that's Isolore 16, Glaciation 111, Profane Life Force, Profane Spell Focus, which is hot, and it's got nothing slotted in it because I couldn't come up with anything good. Symbol of the Slave Lords, because this is arguably the best overall trinket in the game. So I've got that slotted with the Master's Gift, Sapphire of Heavy Fortification, that's True Seeing, Insightful Constitution, and Dusk, all in one slot, which is amazing. Here's an item you don't see much. This comes out of the Mines of Tethumar. I think that's what it's called, Mines of Tethumar pack. Anyway, this is the Shimmer Cloak, and so I've got that slotted with Blindless Immunity, Insightful Enchantment Focus, which is amazing, Quality Enchantment Focus, which is amazing, Spell Penetration +5, and Charisma 8. So this is an excellent bard / crowd controller kind of thing. My belt currently is the Epic Belt of Thoughtful Remembrance. This drops out in Epic Orchard. I forget which quest it is. It might be Fleshmakers. I think I said this last time and I've completely forgotten once again. Constitution 11. I'll put up one of my patented text overs if I remember to Google this before I do it. So that's Death Block 7, Constitution 11, Concentration 20, Resistance 11, Dodge 11, and Greater Regeneration. And this has a Sapphire of Natural Armor in it just because it tends to work out better that way. Bronze Dragon Scale Belt is also amazing. I used that right up until level 27. I think I was still using it like level 28 or 29 and forgot to swap it out. So this is just, if you have it, great. If not, don't worry about it. Epic Ethereal Ring, again out of Saltmarsh, Ghostly Speed 30, Dodge 9%, Reflex 8, Topaz Witchery 195 because I use it on all kinds of different builds, so that's handy. Epic Cinder Fingers, these come out of Saltmarsh as well. Now, Fire Lore, Combustion, Evocation is meaningless. I should say the Fire Lore and Firepower is meaningless. There's no fire on this build, but it is Evocation Focus 4, Resistance 8, which is great if you don't have it somewhere else, and Web Immunity, which is awesome because Web sucks. I pulled these dropped out a kind of a big deal in the White Plume quests. These are the Epics Steelweave Shin Guards. That's speed 30%, dodge 10, Electricity absorption 28%, electric resistance plus 38, and a Reaper boots bonus, which is super lucky on this, which is plus 5 Reaper bonus to physical and magical resistance rating. That's ridiculous. I didn't even know it went to plus 5, but whatever. And then I saw that with a Sapphire of Healing amplification, which I think was Randoliric in Evening Star. There we go. I've wanted this for a very long time, and I had to farm the crap out of it, but finally got it. Epic Salt Pro Ring. This is Insightful Charisma 4, Sonic Lore 16, Resonance 111, and Enchantment Focus 4. That is a hilariously good item, mainly because that Insightful Charisma stacks, and that Enchantment Focus will stack with Shimmer. So that's a huge bonus to my enchantment, which is great because my crowd controlling was almost always with Sphere of Dancing, and it was a very good time. And this is my last Salt Marsh item, which completes the set. This is the Epic Driftwood Bracers, Wisdom plus 4, it's nice but meaningless. Healing Lore 16, Devotion plus 111, and Wizardry 195. Again, that's redundant, and that has a Sapphire False Life slotted in it because I didn't have another place to put it. Here's a fun item, the Epic Tourney Armor. This drops out in the Sands. You can now buy this with tokens, I believe, the bronze tokens. And this is plus 6 enhancement bonus. It is sheltering 24, so that's physical and magical resistance rating, protection 8, parrying plus 4, DR 15 adamantine. So that's like, unless something is using adamantine weapons on you, you're just rolling 15 damage off of everything, and it's mithril, so it's light, and it has greater nimbleness, so its max deck bonus is 10, which is pretty rad. I never hit that. I don't think did I even have a dex bonus that got, oh, maybe a little bit. So I restricted it by 1, I guess. Oh well. But yeah, it was a very good time, and I slotted it with a Sapphire Resistance 8, just because I didn't have these at the time. So that, and then the last one was my eye slot, which is the Acolyte's Lenses. If I'm remembering, these drop out of the Harbor Quest, the name of which I can never remember, which is part of the Sharn series. What is that quest called? Anyway, I'll add it if I can remember what it's called at some point. So that's Intelligence 8, Insightful Intelligence 3, Insightful Wizardry 77, so that stacks, and then Spell Sight 16, which is really what you're looking for. And that's pretty amazing. So, very good little item. Again, I don't have it slotted because I didn't have anything sexy to put in there. Epic Scepter of Magnetism, these come out of the Borderlands. So go out and farm yourself some, I think it's the ethereal ingots or whatever they called, and you can get one of these, the Scepter of Magnetism, and then the other one was my Scepter of Resonation. Again, the Insightful Wizardry doesn't stack. I think it doesn't stack with this either, again, so that doesn't really matter. But again, one of these I had from my old Artificer life, and so I slotted it with a Ruby of Impulse just because. And this one I didn't have slotted at all because why? So Sonic Lore, Resonance, Insightful Resonance. So that's basically the best possible Sonic Lore item you can get, a Sonic item you can get in the game. I did have, which I didn't realize until later, and my last thing is of course my Flame Touch Fiddle, because why not? I did have my Quiver of Alacrity for a minute, but after that I didn't really need it. Once you have like this speed 30 items, it's moot. I did have Hear Sam's Fiddle. Here's some, I guess, is the correct pronunciation, which is pretty awesome. It's plus 15 sounding, good luck, insightful resonance, quality resonance. That's amazing. Problem is that this doesn't, I didn't have another way to stack this, so I'd have to give up my magnetism item to get this. Now, the only way to get around that was if I had like a legendary Ring of Spring Storms or something that I could go around it, but if I'd have had a way to use that, I would have. So anyway, if I put it on, it looks like this, in case you've never seen it. It's a fiddle. It's basically the same as the Tiefling's fiddle, if you've ever seen it, but meh. So that's basically the way my gear broke down. Again, it's a spellcaster build, so it tends to be fairly simple, especially because you're basically only focusing on two things. You're focusing on evocation, and then you're focusing on enchantment. Perform buffs all of your sonic damage and your sonic skills, or your bard skills, and then spellcraft covers the rest. It covers all of your elemental damages and stuff. So your ice and electric and whatnot is all covered by spellcraft. So you want to make sure that that's up as well, which is why I took probably more intelligence than most people would have thought necessary. Feats. What do we do for feats? Again, your mileage may vary on some of these things, but this is what it took. I took, and this shouldn't be surprising at all, Epic Spell Power Sonic, Epic Spell Power Electricity, Epic Spell Power Cold. That's basically everything Stormsinger does. I went with Scion of the Feywild for my level 30 feat. So that's plus 4 DCs of enchantment and illusions, plus 20 healing amplification, plus 10 sonic and force spell power, plus 30 universal spell power, plus 15 sonic and force spell crit damage, plus 10% universal spell crit damage. And it adds plus 2d20 sonic damage to weapon or unarmed attacks, which scales with spell power, which is all but meaningless because we're not doing that stuff. But, and for my Destiny feats, I took Font of Life because I really couldn't think of anything valuable to put in there. I have Inspiration Melody Excellence, which is adds bardic inspiration. You can improve abilities of your comrades to your performance. The song grants a +2 competence bonus to all ability scores. Requires 20 trained ranks, not total mod of the perform skill to use. So got that. Then Intensify Spell. Wellspring of Power. I did take Master of Music. Your shout, greater shout, sonic blast, and reverberate spells gives +10 to their maximum caster level. This is something that I overlooked when I did Spellsinger and didn't have it until like level 29 or something ridiculous. And had I known that, this opens up your damage potential significantly. So don't sleep on Master of Music if you can. You're gonna want that. Let's see, past lives. There's nothing exciting in here. That's the standard set of past lives. If you want to see it, I'll open it up for you. I've got Ancient Power, Brace, Double Shot, Double Strike, Energy Criticals, which is handy to have. I think I had that turned on for this particular life because, again, it's +3 critical chance with Acid, Cold, Electric, Fire, and Sonic spells per stack of this past life, and I've acquired that 3 times. So it's opens up my critical quite a bit. I have a Aasimar, Purple Dragon Knight, Razor Claw, and Tiefling Scoundrel past lives, all 3 of each. And I have, I believe, 6 total. So I've got Drow, Dwarf, Gnome. And this will be my last Tabaxi. So I'll have 6 total racial points. This will make it 7 special feats, my inherent tomes. And what else did I take? I got Deflected Arrows out of the Tabaxi tree, Reaper Eyes, and then out of the Meta Magics. The usual suspects: Empower, Heighten, Maximize, Quicken. And I did take, I forget where it's up in here somewhere. What does it count as? Force Personality I took. I think that's it. Yeah, I didn't take anything else. I think that's everything. Spellcasting feats. Magical training, yeah. So you get magical training out of the Stormsinger tree, I believe, somewhere. Alright, so quick breakdown of my points. So, Stormsinger, Spellsinger, they're bollocksed up in here. I couldn't figure out a way. They kept moving around on me. I'm not sure what I was doing wrong. So I just left it like it is. So Stormsinger is over here, and then Spellsinger is over here. So all the way up to core 5 in Spellsinger. So that gets me Master of Storms. What? Master of Storms? Oh, that's interesting. Huh. I think something got bollocked up here because I don't know why they call this Master of Storms. But anyway, Master of Storms, each spell in the Spellsinger gives you universal spell power, so it gets me all these. So that's Music of the Sewers, Music of the Dead, Music of the Makers, Virtuoso. Now, Virtuoso I found to be actually useful because it's basically giving you Anthem. You regenerate a song every 5 minutes. I never used my Bard songs. Like, I just for buffs at the very beginning of quests, and that was like it. I never bothered with it after that. I found they were basically unnecessary. I believe this becomes unnecessary if you already because you take Stormsinger automatically gets magical training, so you can't get tier 3 in this. I took the Sonic Blast out of here. Reverberate, of course. Violet Marigold for evocation. A little bit of charisma there. Inspiration Melody, Spell Song, Trance. So that's got you +1 morale bonus to DCs and +10% morale discount to spell costs and you target for the duration of the song, so that's reducing spell costs. Shout SLA. Inspiration Melody Raucous Refrain. When you use your Bardic Inspiration, your target gets +3 morale bonus to scissors, sleep, paralysis, exhaustion, and energy drain for the duration of your song, so that's pretty rad. Of course, Sustaining Song. When you use your Bardic Inspiration, you apply a temporary fast healing effect for your target for the duration of the song. This is amazing. You always want to have that. It's fantastic for hirelings. That's like all your maintenance healing. When you get enough hamp, that really matters too. Frolic Inspiration Melody. When you use your Bardic Inspiration, your target gains freedom of movement for the duration of the song, so that's free freedom of movement that cannot be dispelled. And then finally, Song of Arcane Might. When you use your Bardic Inspiration, the target gains +1 morale bonus to caster level for all spells for the duration of your song, so that's bumping your caster level for all of these things, so that's rad. So that's it. And I debated for a long time the tier 5s, but ultimately I went with the Stormsinger simply because this is getting me more of the stuff I wanted. When I started out with this, I did take Nyax Cold Ray out of here, and then I respec'd it later because I found that Nyax really fell off in its effectiveness, and I wasn't using it that much, and it was just like, you'll find that you rapidly run out of like hot bars to use, at least I did. So I just eventually just got rid of it and then spent the points elsewhere. So my final breakdown was all the cores in Stormsinger. So I've got Capsinger in here, 43 points total. So Stormsinger, each core ability taken in this tree, including this one, grants you +5 electric, cold, and sonic spell power. And this is the next one. Your sonic and cold spells have a 20% chance to cause a massive lightning strike whenever they hit an enemy. This lightning strike deals an extra d6 electric damage per caster level. That lightning strike is huge, and by the like figuratively huge, and then later on it is practically huge. It's also bright blue and makes a Bill and Ted's guitar noise every time it sounds, and that makes me laugh every time. When I post these things, you'll see me giggling like a moron every time that thing goes off because it's so hilarious. Enhanced Bolt. The Lightning Bolt is upgraded to deal d6 +2 electric damage per caster level. Lightning Strike is upgraded to add d3 stacks of vulnerability when it goes off. That's a big deal, because so now it's every time it goes off, you're also stacking vulnerable, and it goes off a lot because you're continually spamming your spells, and every time you do that, it's got a 20% chance to proc. So that's a big deal, and the damage is upgraded to d4 +6, or d6 +4, excuse me. This is amazing. Enhanced Bolt 3. When your lightning strike goes off, the enemy is frozen with no save for 3 seconds. That's an effective cerulean wave effect that happens all the time. So that's got you've got a 20% chance to freeze stuff in place. That's huge crowd control that you really aren't expecting. So it's a very good time. +1 caster level and max caster level with sonic electric spells is also huge. And then finally, the Master of Storms. +4 Charisma, +1 Evocation DC. Your Lightning Strike now deals d6 +6 damage per caster level. The freeze is upgraded to 5 seconds, +1 caster level with max caster level with Sonic and Electric spells. So you do get cold spells, but you want to lean on Sonic and Electric, I've found. That tends to be the selling point, because you're going to get more mileage out of that. And all of your things are sort of geared towards working that. That being said, you don't want to completely ignore it, because you do have a few things that you absolutely are going to want to get at least some cold spell power for, and that is Nyax Biting Cold. This is an SLA, so you can just ramp the crap out of this with meta magics. And then Snowball Swarm. This Snowball Swarm, again, it seems like nothing, but you get a lot of use out of this early, and even later on you can just toss it out as part of your rotation. As I found that this became very handy. So don't sleep on these. You want to make sure you've got at least some spell power to power those, and that's why I have the Anchor Chain. Is it gonna not show me the Anchor Chain again? Please show me the Anchor Chain. Pretty pleased with sugar on top. There we go. Epic Anchor Chain. So yeah, that was my solution to that problem. You could also use I believe it's called the Pendant of the Azure Sky out of Sharn, which does effectively the same thing, and you could get away with that too. I did for a minute until I had the Anchor Chain. I was in fact using a glaciation rod. I'm not sure where I put it. I think this is it. Yeah, the Scepter of Glaciation, again, comes from the Borderlands. It's identical to the other ones. It's just cold power. And I was using that, and I forget what I was using for my electric spell power. I think I might have had a Bracers of Wind or something that I was using for my electric spell power until I got everything sorted out. So up in here, Electrocution. Whenever you cast an electric, cold, or sonic damage spell, you gain +5 to your electric, sonic, and spell power for 6 seconds. It stacks up to 5 times, which means that you're effectively going to have plus 25 spell power basically all the time because you're constantly going to be rotating through those. Pierce electric resistance, your electric, cold, and sonic spell damage now bypass 15 points of your target's resistance to those damage types, if any. So these are amazing. So you want these back to back. So once you start getting these things, they're going to constantly be up. Inspire Courage now grants allies plus 9 universal spell power and plus 3 to hit. Plus 3 to hit is meaningless, but it's granting us plus 9 universal spell power, which is amazing. Ride the Lightning, because I would have taken this if it did nothing. Your main hand weapon is now considered an implement. When you critically hit with a sonic, cold, or lightning spell, you gain plus 3% dodge, plus 3 reflex saving throws, and your spell point costs are reduced by 3% for 10 seconds. So that is a very good time. Again, these are just efficiency improving spells. Of course, fast movement, because I didn't take this until very late. I don't think I had this until like level 18 or something. You don't need it up until I found you didn't need it up until then, especially on the Tabaxi, because you get the feline agility. But once you have it, it's a very good time. And then of course all of our storm songs, plus 2% critical chance and electric and cold spells, all the way up. So ding 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 ding. It's surprising that it doesn't give you sonic for whatever reason. I don't think any of these give you sonic spell crit chance, which is probably because sonic is fantastically good as a damage type, so that's probably why they're not giving it to you. I just straight up ignored these other ones. Plus 1 bard songs, I don't need them. Efficient meta magics are too expensive, I find. Stormsinger's inspiration, a chance to have your lightning strike when they make a melee or ranged attack for your allies, a chance. So if you buff your allies, they can also proc the lightning strike, but I mean, that's all. I mean, again, if you're willing to sacrifice something else, be my guest, but I couldn't find anything else I'd rather have for that. I found this was just a trap that I would prefer to not do. So these all the way up to the top with the Storm Song, and then of course Horn of Thunder. You cast the Horn of Thunder as a spell-like ability. You can use Metavagic Feats as spell-like abilities, no additional cost. Okay, so everybody knows that. Horn of Thunder, blast your foes with d6 plus 3 sonic and d6 plus 3 electric damage per caster level. Sonic damage is doubled versus oozes as the thunderous pressure disrupts their amorphous structure. Creatures making a reflex save take half damage. I believe this is considered a level 6 spell, which is good because you will find very quickly, like most half casters, that liches become a problem. So they are immune to everything with 4th level and lower spells. So you're going to want to go ahead and nullify that situation. This takes care of that problem 100%. Then I took Stormcaller, plus 15 cold, electric, and sonic spell power, which is nice, but whatever. The real spell here is rank 3. The spell Iceberg is added to your spellbook at level 6. And again, that seems like nothing until you've got it, and then all of a sudden you're dropping icebergs on stuff. And that's a very good time because there's stuff, again, looking at you liches, that is just straight up immune to electric, and that is a great problem solver. It is also a great Reaper Eraser. You hit them with a Thunderstroke, and then you hit them with an Iceberg, and then usually just go away. And then, of course, this last one, Storm Studies, gives you plus 1 evocation DCs. So that was the breakdown, and then I had a handful of points that I put into Fate Arc Illusionist to take my favorite, the Fox, which I think is the most adorable of the familiars. 1 Fate Arc Explorer, 3 and Study the Arcane for more spell points, and then that was all just to get to You've Got My Back. While your familiar drops ambient and offensive magic to you, it protecting you from magic missiles if you had the benefits of the shield spell. So that's basically what you're looking for. I wanted this permanent shield spell, and Past Me was very proud of myself for taking that. I felt very smart. So over here in the Tabaxi tree, just spent like the 6 AP I had. So Nimble Cat, Charisma, Nimble Cat 2. Don't take falling damage. This is, again, land on your feet, I think is great. And then deflect arrows, because why not? So that was the basic breakdown. This is it's pretty expensive. So you've got to be careful, unless you've got like a lot of like racial AP that you can burn and stuff. I couldn't come up with a better way to spread these points out and still get the effects I was looking for. So I found that this was the best kind of, at least for my playstyle, was the best overall layout. And then we get into the Epic Destinies, and it's pretty cut and dry. I didn't even take the last cores. Apparently I counted my points wrong, but you can take Regrowth, and you can take Hear My Voice Friend. Again, I counted I counted wrong and spent all the points. It didn't matter because again I hit level 32, and then what are you gonna do at that point, right? All you're gonna do is TR. So Primal Avatar was the main tree, so this is your Nature Sky. And then you take Heart as the second, and then I took Weather the Elements as the third. I don't have a protection from energy spell. If I did, I'm sure that would have been great. Stormcaller is fantastic. Again, it's just leaning on your electric damage, so don't sleep on it. Rejuvenation Cocoon, best overall heal in the game. Our buddy the Bat of Echoes for more sonic power. If you remember to rest, which I never did. Rive, you gain 50 spell points. And your Epic Strike in this tree now has a 30% chance to thrive when cast. This cost of spells is reduced by 25%, bonus for 4 seconds. So what Primal Avatar does for you is it basically eliminates the problem you have leveling up, which is that you tend to be desperately short on spell points. Again, like all half-casters, I found it to be particularly pronounced with the Spellsinger. I had to use pots, which I don't normally do, but I've got billions of pots, so it means nothing to me, but that can be a problem for you. So up until that point, you might even want to go Spellsinger tier 5 just to gain the sustaining song and get the spell points back, and then afterwards respec out of it and go tier 5 in Stormsinger. You know, I just toughed it out with pots, but your mileage may vary. So anyway, Thunder Snow, send a wide wave of freezing hail with a narrow blast of lightning at its center directly in front of the caster. This is a great spell, use this all the time. Mantle of Nature Sky, this is what I ran in constantly. Your cold, electric, and sonic spells have a chance to blast the target for an additional d6 plus 6 damage per caster level of the same type of the spell used. All effects scale with 100% spell power. Each element can only proc once every 5 seconds, and they're tracked separately. So this whole tree is basically like, might as well be custom built for a Stormsinger. So it's fantastic. And this, that proc, that additional damage procs all the time. So that's great. And this is another one, Evergreen, plus 100 maximum spell points. So again, you're getting a lot of spell points now. It's starting to stack up quickly. When using any Mantle of Nature, your spells have a chance to grant you 100 temporary spell points for 60 seconds. This Evergreen goes off all the time. I was always looking over and seeing the brackets was showing me additional spell points. So by the time you get to here, spell points never become an issue again. I never considered it after that. I never came close to running out of spell points at that point, which was amazing. Magic of the Old World Evocation, so I took Evocation in this tree. And then that's of course Sky, doubles the damage of Thunderstone. Thunderstone now applies the slow effect of Stormcaller, so that's handy to have. Again, I often forgot to use Thundersnow. I should have used it more than I did, but alas, I did not. So then I found that these were not really inspirational. I could have taken the unicorn, but I was basically never resting in quests. So that kind of became a thing. So I took the improved maximize reduction, and then the next improved maximize induction. Once I had these, I just turned maximize on for everything. It didn't really matter. Most of the stuff I was using was SLAs, but it did help my chain lightning, and then one of these other spells was not, I think my greater shout was also not maximized. Natural evasion. So this is where I picked up evasion. Normally I would have been pretty butthurt that I didn't have evasion, but this just gives me evasion. So I picked that up out of this tree, and I suddenly understood why this is here. So that's awesome. I didn't have to try to fish it out of the Shadow Dancer tree, which is great. Nature's Reach, plus 5 universal spell power, or excuse me, by the end is plus 15 universal spell power, and the large meta magic costs 9 for your spell points, never used in large, so it doesn't care. And then I took Ancient Wisdom, plus 3 to all spell DCs, and then the Sky Rager. They could increase the duration on this, become like a Raging Storm for 20 seconds. It's got like a 5-minute cooldown. Like that should go for 30 seconds. Like I found, like I turned it on, it was cool. It was really good. It wiped out a lot of stuff, but like 20 seconds is a very short duration. They should extend that to 30 seconds, I think, because that's like all of your other active buffs. Like even if you're using Wellspring of Power, they're all 30 seconds, you know? So again, they really should consider extending that to a full 30 seconds, because that's just all of a sudden you're just out of it, and then it's got a 5-minute cooldown. So like I don't know how much they figure you're gonna do in that 20 seconds, but like considering that a lot of these things have like a 6-second cooldown on a rotation, you're not gonna get a lot of stuff off in that time. So just my 2 cents. So then the rest of it kind of went into Fatesinger. So core 1, Fate's Repertoire, Intoxicating Presence, enemies that strike you have 5% chance to become fascinated, and then Glitter of Fame, plus 1 to all ability scores and saves. Strike a chord. This is amazing. You want to use this all the time. This is stacking up harmonic resonance, and it also leads you to echoes of discord, which is fantastic. It's like a sound burst sort of effect, and then it just unloads on things. Creates a blast of music on the target that strikes nearby enemies for d6 plus 1 sonic damage per caster level, scales with 100% sonic spell power. Each Chords of Fate you have increases the damage by 100%. This attempts to stun the target for 1 second per Chords of Fate. So, basically that triples every time you stack up the Chords of Fate, which stack up to 3 times, and then if you unload with this, then that's basically tripling that damage. I did take Music of the Spider Queen. At first glance, you gain plus 10 universal spell power. That's not all that rad. If you have the Fascinate, it now has the power to mesmerize version. Okay, fair enough. And your Bardic Inspiration now neutralizes poison. So that's kind of handy to have a neutralized poison that's effectively free. Because I found, especially when you're running through like the Underdark and stuff, you get poisoned all the time. So that just comes in kind of handy, kind of a quality of life thing. Plus 2 enhancement DCs. And then 3 points into Masquerade reduces the cost of your spells by 10%. Again, so we're just, by this point, we've like not spent anything. I took the Meta Magic Enlarge. There was 3 of them. I forget what they were. This just seemed like the best choice, so that's why this other one was kind of meaningless. It's like it reduces the Enlarge Meta Magic. Doesn't matter because I'm getting it for free now. Very, very vocal. There's 2 of these. There's very, very vocal and Greatest Shout. I thought, like, honestly, between the 2, you'd be insane to take Greatest Shout. Very, very vocal is where it's at. When you cast Shout, its damage is increased by 50%. When you cast Greatest Shout or Horn of Thunder, the damage is doubled. So that's just straight up increasing the spells that you're going to be using like on constant rotation by 50 and 100%. So you want to do that. And your Discord ability is stunned for an additional 3 seconds. So this is where it's at. This is what you want. And then finally, I took Majesty. You are immune to Charisma stat damage. When you play any Bardic song while using the Feats in your Destiny Mantle, you heal yourself and all nearby allies for D2 points per character level and apply the Restoration spells. So it's like kind of like giving you the Cleric's burst ability, positive energy burst ability. But again, I never used that because I was never in the Feats in your Destiny Mantle. I was always using my Sky. And then lastly, just to fill it out, I always put the last of my things into Unyielding Sentinel. And that gave me Last Hope, which is the Die Hard feat, and then Divine Energy Resistance, and then plus 10% Fortification. Very little I spent in this actual tree. You normally get like 8 points in here, but I didn't actually need it because I had Rejuvenation and other stuff in other places, so I didn't really need to take it. Normally I would have maxed out Braids for Impact, but again, I found I didn't need it, so whatever. So that was how I broke down my Epic Destiny. And again, it was hilariously good. Like there were some areas where it got a little bit slow, but again, one of the things that you notice is that your spells, you get let's see if I can see these. I'm not sure why it's not showing that. Where does it add it? It's on. Oh, there it is, level 5. So once you get Ball Lightning and Chain Lightning, it's kind of all over. Again, I even had like some of these other spells like Sound Burst and stuff like that, but like Electric Loop I had, but they're not even on my bar at this point. Like I think Sound Burst is over here, but like I never used it, so whatever. I did have Sound Burst over there. I did take Color Spray, but again, after a while, you're just not using these things. You're straight going through, you know, this was my rotation, like straight up. Strike a Chord, Sonic Blast, Horn of Thunder, Shout, Greater Shout, Echoes of Discord, Snowball Swarm, Stormcaller, Thunder Snow, Chain Lightning if I forgot. Once I got the bosses, I lit them up with Reverberate and Nyax Cold, and then I just went through the rotation again and again and again and again. It was just, if I saw them coming up, I would light them up with Chain Lightning first and then go after them, but other than that, that was it. It was basically like playing a Sork. Excuse me, a Sorcerer for those people who don't know the lingo. So yeah, you just go in and you just blast away. And I found that I genuinely prefer these cone spells like Horn of Thunder, Shout, Greater Shout, whatever, simply because it's cool that you have range on other spells, but like the mobs close so quickly in DDO that having that blast in front of you is actually more, I found to be more beneficial than just like trying to like continually stay out of range. That was just, it was, you're not ever going to be able to stay out of range entirely. So it's better to just have a powerful set of cone blasts that you can just send out in front of you, and it wipes out stuff in droves. And it was an extremely good time. I never felt underpowered. My DCs were always good. Even my spell penetration wasn't that bad. And I don't have, I mean, I've got 3 favored soul lives and 1 wizard past life, so that helps a little bit. But even when I was in the Underdark with all the drow, with all their spell resistances and stuff, they still ran straight into my disco ball and started dancing. So that was it. Again, when I felt the need, or if there was too much, I'd throw up a sphere of dancing, and then Bob's your uncle. It was really, really simple. Super simple playstyle. I was forever healthy because I always had rejuvenate and your own cure critical, and then all the other heal spells. Plus you have your sustaining song is always going off, so you're trickle healing constantly. Very, very strong, I found. There isn't a whole lot really to discuss. I enjoyed it immensely, and I have played Spellsinger previously all the way to level cap, which I thought was very, very good. But this made it look trivial by comparison. Like, I found it to be much, much more enjoyable, even if it was trickier to build and spec to gear out. I found that it was a lot more fun. I enjoyed it immensely. I will be coming back to it, but like, this is absolutely going into my like top 5 for builds I would absolutely run to cap again if I was just looking to get through stuff quickly. Because Spellsinger used to be that build as well. A lot of people recommend Spellsinger as like your go-to if you're just looking to like ramrod through past lives quickly, because it does so much stuff easily. But I absolutely would recommend Stormsinger. It is a very, very good time. Not all that difficult to gear out. It can be frustrating to get everything into the build, but like most of it's coming out of like a couple of places anyway, so you just run around in circles until you get it. Or you can throw up a group and say, hey, look, I'm looking to pick up this stuff. Most people will be glad to pass it to you in my experience. So that's it. Like I say, I ran even with my epic, I ran epic all the way into legendary and stuff, and never once ran into a problem with it. It was never even close. And that's without any legendary gear. So if you could like upgrade to legendary gear to provide additional spell powers, you would be in hilariously good shape, because I didn't even try like the Thrumming Spark Cord or anything like that to do it, which is actually having thought of it. If I had there's the what do you call it? There's a rapier that comes out of the Dryad and the Demigod as well. So that would be very good. I don't know why I got that noise. Oh. Apparently somebody has just followed me. That's amazing. Cool. I'm not even live right now. Huh. So anyway, yeah, so that's a good time. But definitely would recommend. So yeah, the rapier out of Dryad and the Demigod, and then here's some fiddle. Plus a Thrumming Spark card would probably be your go-to build out, or if you could get this Ring of Spring Storms or what have you, also amazing. But yeah, it's fantastic. A very, very good, very, very fun, easy to get, easy to play. Not a lot of thinking involved, which is amazing. And it's not really, because again, the Tabaxi isn't ideal for this, so you'd probably be better off as a tiefling or a drow, or even a dragonborn would probably be amazing, because it would just be so strong, especially if you had spell point or racial action points to put into the trees, especially for dragonborn. It'd probably be incredible. You could just totally rock the dragon breath as yet another cone ability in front of you, which would be fantastic. So that's pretty much it. Might pare this down a little bit. Again, these run quite a bit longer than I thought, motor mouth. But yeah, so that's the breakdown. Stormsinger would recommend. Good for any class, even if might seem like it's not, or I should say any race, I should say. Probably not ideal for Warforged or Half-Orc, but you never know. So give it a try if you haven't already. It is a very good time. I'm going to clean up the cache and TR at this point, and I'll be moving on to my halfling lives. But that is for another time. So thanks to everybody who watched this. I hope you got something out of it. Again, I am always on Monday to Friday at 0930 hours Eastern Standard Time on Twitch, so feel free to stop by and bother me there. And if not, then I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you all again soon. So take care.